Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and today's video is going to be about betting forecasts, looking at the horse's form in depth and the discrepancy between the exchange prices. So as you can see, we're looking at the 220 at Wolverhampton, a 7 furlong handicap, quite a nice race to get involved in, and I've put the horses in betting order. So we've got Nimra the favourite 3.75, Captain Dion at 5.9, Russian Soul 6.8, Joey's Destiny 7.2, Chiron 10, Swiss Cross, the old campaigner at 18.5, George Sink at 18.5, the top weight, Alejandro 27, and Secure at 32. Now the first thing I want to look at is the betting forecast itself. Now I'm going to put in a minute the prices up for the betting forecast that were available this morning. Now that doesn't mean that they were the exact prices. These are just the Racing Post analysts' analysis of the race and their best attempts to put in the prices. And I think that is a thankless job. You've got quite a lot of unknown horses, some of them get backed in, and you can get the betting market drastically wrong. However, having said that, I think the betting forecast does favour the favourites, and it's quite often that they do get the favourites right in terms of prices, and where they go wrong is with looking at the price of the outsiders, and these seem to be, in the forecast at least, a little bit too short. So you're going to get 14 to 1 about a horse that's 33 or 34 on the exchanges, but the favourites are usually fairly accurate. However, if we look at the prices for the favourites, we've got Nimra, that's been trading round about 3, and early on up to 3.8, and it's now going back up to 3.8. So we've got a range of 3 to 3.8, which is not too far away from the betting forecast, and I'll show that in a minute. Now Captain Dion started off at 4, gently drifted out to 7, and then come back into round about 5.5, and you can see there's a 50% discrepancy between, or at least a 50% discrepancy between the lowest price and the highest price. So let's, with that percentage in mind, let's have a look at the second horse. And again, we've got Russian Soul, who has only run in Ireland, and that has got a low of 6 and a high of 9. Again, another 50% discrepancy on the price. Joey's Destiny, you'll notice, has been up to 10.5, but more or less up to 9.5. There's a little bit of money at 10.5, but most of the time, early on at least, was up to about 9.5, and it's come down to 6. So again, 50% discrepancy. Chiron up to 15 and below 10. Swiss Cross, a little bit higher in early trading. Again, not much money at the early prices, but I've got a strong feeling that the horse will trade within 50% of its range. George Sink, let's have a look at that one. So it started off at 13, went up to 30, now trading round about 18.5. So we've got a massive discrepancy between the low price and the high price. And Alejandro, again, plenty of fluctuations in that one. Anything up to 55 for small money, but most of the money is within the border 40 and 20. So again, more than 50%, in fact that one's 100% discrepancy in prices. And Secure, again, a big discrepancy in the price. Now we have traded on Joey's Destiny, and I'm going to have a look at the form of Joey's Destiny in a moment, and we're also going to look at the betting forecast for it and why I put in the money early on. First of all, Joey's Destiny has decent form, and like I say, we will have a look at that form in the next few minutes. So the betting forecast last night, all bookmakers had Joey's Destiny at 5 to 1, and I think the form backed that price up. So anything above that was going to be at least looking at the price. So we started off looking at it, 5 to 1 is 6 on Betfair, so 6 would be an absolute minimum price for Joey's Destiny, because you can get that on the bookmakers themselves. So as the price went up fairly early, we went up to 8, 9, and I think the price went a little bit too high, and sometimes you can get that on early trading. where the market is just forming, people are not sure about the prices because of the price discrepancy between the Racing Post and the exchanges. So Joy's Destiny was, in my opinion, a solid 5-to-1 shot, and the price went up and we managed to get it in at 8.5, which is actually 15-2. So that's a 50% hike on the betting forecast, and we started trading at that, and then we laid the money off when it came back down close to its bookmaker's price. So 6 would be the bookmaker's price on exchanges, 5-to-1, and 6.5 is what we got it off. So we actually laid it off at 11-2, which is still above the bookmaker's price. So that was the thinking behind Joy's Destiny, but like I say, we'll have a look at the form of these runners shortly. Chiron is a horse that has run decent races but also disappointed, and bookmaker's price is round about 9-1, and you could got 14-1 or 15 on the betting exchanges. Swiss Cross is up in class, so I'd expect that to trade quite a lot higher, and I am quite surprised it's trading as low as 18.5. Now that might be because Josephine Gordon's in the saddle, it's got an inside draw, and she does tend to favour the inside routes, and it could trade a little bit lower in running. George Sink is a decent performer, it's got top weight, and this one is currently trading at 19, but it has been off the track for some time. So again, we'd be expecting that one to drift in the market to at least 50% higher than its betting forecast. And Alejandro, another one, in the betting forecast round about 14-1, so we were expecting that to drift at least 50% out in the price. And Secure, obviously that one also, we looked at the form of that, didn't add up in the short term, so again we would have expected that one to drift out, and it has held up round about 30-34. So the one we played on is Joy's Destiny, and let's have a look at the form of Joy's Destiny. So we're looking at Joy's Destiny and its handicap runs on the all-weather. Now it started its handicap career on the all-weather on December the 7th as a 6-year-old, running over 7 furlongs, and the average race rating was 89. So that means that all the horses in the race, the official rating of the horses in the race, was added up and divided by the number of runners, and that gave you an accurate figure of the class of the race. It was also rated 87, giving a total rating of 176. Now it did finish 4th of 8 in that race, but the important thing to remember is it was only beaten 3/4 of a length. So given different tactics, given another day, it may well have won the race under these conditions. Now the next time it ran was as a 7-year-old on January the 17th at Kempton, again over 7 furlongs, this time slightly dropped in class, 87, but still running off the same mark, and a total rating of 174, just 2 below, so that's not much difference to the other one. And this time it was 20-1 in the race at Kempton. Now that's pretty good value considering the race is more or less the same at Lingfield, and it was only beaten 3/4 of a length in doing so. And this time it ran another good race, finishing just a half a length behind the winner. So you probably get a decent price in running, and it probably was a very good tradable option on that day. And now we come to the race today. February the 6th, Wolverhampton, 7 furlongs again, 87 rating, identical to its other 2 runs, and this time rated 88. So again, not much different than these 2 races here. And you would expect the horse to again finish pretty close up. So in terms of in running and its price, you would expect it to be fairly close in the market, and that's why we traded it earlier on at the price we did. So that's Joy's Destiny. Obviously that's got a chance in the race, one to put into the shortlist. Now let's have a look at Nimra. So I'm just going to change those, and let's have a look at Nimra on the database. So I'll put that up, and if we can find Nimra, here we go. So this is Nimra's performances, and again pretty similar to Joy's Destiny, and that it's run in this class of race, 89, 92, and today it's 88, racing off a mark of 90, 7 furlongs. Now its win came over 6 furlongs, but it ran well at Newcastle over 7, and it was only beaten 1 3/4 lengths. Now this is down 4 in class and down 1 in the weight, so it's -5 on that run. So you would expect it to be a little bit closer than the 1 3/4 lengths. So again, another horse for your shortlist. Nimra got a very good chance. Now let's have a look at a couple of other ones. If we just scroll across, and this time we're looking at Captain Dion. Now this is also one of the favourites for the race, and you can see straight away that the class here, 78, 80, 80, is much lower than this run here, which is going to be today at Wolverhampton. But this race here suggests that it can run a decent race. Newcastle, December the 30th, 6 furlongs, rated 85, so it's up 4 in the weights, and rated average race rating of 88. So it has run well in that class, and again it was only beaten 1.5 lengths in that race. So that suggests that the class of the race is fine. And the big problem with Captain Dion is the distance. Now will it stay this extra furlong? Obviously its 4 races previous have been over 6 furlongs, and today it's running over 7. So you'd expect it to be running well for a long way. Just the doubt about whether it will stay the 7 furlongs. So of the 3 fancied runners that we've looked at, possibly Nimra would be the one. If you're going to back in the race, probably Nimra would be the one. Captain Dion might run well, and also Joy's Destiny might run well, as the figures show here. So that's the fancied 3 in the race. Now let's have a look at the 2 outsiders that we don't really want to be trading. First of all, Alejandro. And if we can get to Alejandro, this is its races. So 7 furlongs distance is fine. Rating of the horse is fine, it's not gone up that much, but you can see the class of the race, 80, 79, 82, and it was beaten in the race rating of 80, it was beaten in the race rating of 79, and it was beaten in the race rating of 82. So today is a step up in class, a great step up in class, and you can tell that by the weight it's carrying. So this looks to be out of its class. Alejandro looks to be out of its class in this race, and that's why we want a big price for it. We want about 30 or 40 for the horse, and that's just because it might run a half decent race, might get down to 10 in running, but I certainly don't expect it to be anywhere near the front come the end of the race. And the final one we're going to look at is Swiss Cross. So Swiss Cross, again, an outsider, and I expect it to be a lot higher in the betting than it actually is. So let's put Swiss Cross up, and we'll need to scroll up a little bit because this is obviously getting on in years, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, and we have to go back to its 8-year-old career before we find anything that's anywhere near the race standard of today. So this race is the only one, this one here is the only one that matches up to this race. And you can see that was 2 years ago, and it was still beaten 4 lengths. And since then its rating has plummeted, and it's gone right down. And even though it's won these 4 races here, we're still nowhere near the class of today's race. So I think the market is a little bit short on Swiss Cross. If you're playing at 19, 20, 21, 25 even, I think you're playing against the odds, and I would expect Swiss Cross to be 30, 40, even 50 to 1 for the race. So Swiss Cross out, Alejandro out, and we're going to focus on the other 3, and in particular I think Nimra and Joy's Destiny are the 2 to concentrate on, but it depends on the prices. Joy's Destiny is probably the one that we're going to stick with. So what conclusions can we draw from looking at the prices on offer on the exchanges, looking at the forecast, looking at the form, in particular of Joey's Destiny? Well, let's have a look at the betting forecast prices first, and you'll notice these here are the betting forecast, and I'll just highlight those for you. So we've got Nimra, and I'll put the cell references on as, not cell references, these cells borders on as well. So Nimra 3.25, Captain Dion 4.5, Joey's Destiny 6, Russian Soul 6.5, Chiron and Swiss Cross 11, and then the outsiders George Sink 13, Alejandro at 15 and Secure at 26. Now these are changed to decimals, so Nimra would be 9.4, that would be 7 to 2, that's 5 to 1, etc. Now let's have a look at what the actual bookmakers' best offer prices are in relation to the forecast. And again, I'll put that in a different colour so we can highlight that and put in the cell borders. So not much discrepancy between the forecast and the bookmakers priced on Nimra. Captain Dion just one higher. Joey's Destiny round about the same or exactly the same at 6. Same with Russian Soul. So you can see the first four in the betting are very, very close to their actual forecast price. And then you've got Chiron, forecast was 11, and the bookmakers top price currently is at 9. So again, 10 to 1, 8 to 1 with the bookmakers. So all that's come down slightly. It's not far off its price. And then we've got Swiss Cross at 11 going up to 17, and George Sink 13, 17, 15, 23 and 26, 26. So the bookmakers don't go very far away from the forecast, primarily with the first 3 or 4 in the betting. And sometimes you'll get an anomaly like Chiron, who's actually shorter in the bookmakers than the forecast price. Now let's have a look at the current exchanges price, and don't forget there is commission on the exchanges, so we're going to be knocking off a little bit. So Nimra again pretty short in relation to its bookmakers price. Captain Dion 5.7, very close. Again Joey's Destiny and Russian Soul very close to the prices. And you'll also note that these outsiders are close to the bookmakers prices. Now why is that? Why are these close to the prices of the bookmakers? Well, the reason is that the bookmakers follow the exchange's prices. So for example, if Chiron went out to 20 to 1 on the exchanges, the bookmakers price would automatically adjust and go out to a price below that of about 16 to 1. So whatever happens on the exchanges will affect the bookmakers price, and these are the current prices that we looked at on the exchanges a few minutes ago, and these are the bookmakers prices next to the exchanges. So they'll always be a little bit shorter, the bookmakers prices, but you do pay commission on the exchanges. So if you get something like this, you're not getting much discrepancy between the bookmakers and the exchanges prices. Now let's have a look at, and I'll put that in a different colour for you as well. And now let's have a look at the high prices of the horses. So these are the prices that you could expect to get at least £10 on during the day. So we're not going to bother with the current prices. We're not interested in the current prices unless they are nearing the high price. So let's have a look at Nimra, and that's at 5.1 is the high price. Quite a long way away from the forecast and the prices currently on the exchanges. Captain Dion has drifted out to 7.2 at some stage. Joy's Destiny 9.6, Russian Soul at 9, Chiron at 15, Swiss Cross has been as high as 34 for a decent amount of money if you're a beginner. George Sink at 24, Alejandro 34 and Secure at 50. So what can we deduce from this analysis? Well, first of all, we don't want to be taking prices close to the forecast. So if you're taking a price of 3.5 with the bookmakers or 3.7, you're not far off the forecast and the bookmakers price. So that would be, in my opinion, a mistake. You want to be looking at a price, certainly for the fancied horses, about 40 or 50% higher than it was for the forecast. So Joy's Destiny last night was 6.0 in decimal terms, or 5 to 1 with the bookmakers. So you've got to wait until at least the price drifts out beyond 25-30%, and then you can have a look at, see if the form matches up to it, and if it does, you can start trading at these higher amounts. Let's have a look at the second one, Russian Soul, 6.5 and a high of 9. So again, if I was looking at Russian Soul as a tradable option and looking at the form, I would start looking to trade it if I thought it had a decent chance at round about 9, because it's 30-40% above its forecast price. So Chiron, forecast price 11, what would I start trading it at? Round about 15. And you can see the prices have come down from these highs. Now Swiss Cross, in my opinion, is up in class. So I'm looking at that in a different light than these 5 horses. These 5 here have form to win the race. So there must be something wrong with these 4 here for the price to drift out markedly from its initial forecast. Now Swiss Cross is up in class. It is a grand old servant. It's won a few races lately, but in much lower class. So I wouldn't be looking at 15% for this one, because I don't think the form is adding up. So I'd be wanting at least double the price of the forecast, and that's even before I even think about trading on the horse. George Sink hasn't run for 184 days. It is a very decent performer on its day, and although it is a 7-year-old, it's top weight, but like I say, it's been off the track for 6 months. So you could expect the price on that one to drift out, and it has done, and it went out to 24. Now where would I start trading on George Sink? Well, I don't think I'd start trading on it at all. I'd just leave it alone. It's been off the track for 6 months. If it went out to 50, 55, 60, maybe I'd start trading, but it's not within my repertoire. I don't want to trade on a horse that hasn't run for 6 months. So let's now have a look at Alejandro. 15, where would I look at trading? Possibly around double that price, about 30. And you can see the price went up to 34. Now let's have a look at the form of Alejandro, and I'm just clicking on the Racing Post on a laptop next to me. So Alejandro, this is a Class 3 race, and its last few races have been in Class 4, and it's been beaten in Class 4. Last time it ran in Class 3, it finished 7th of 12, 4th of 10, 8th of 11. And it does seem to find Class 3 a little bit troublesome. Most of its best performances have come in Class 4 over the last year. If you go back further in its form, it's got decent form in higher class. But I'm not going to go back that far in its form. I only want to look at form in the last 6 to 12 months. Alejandro's been off the track as well. That's not run for, let's have a look at the position, that's not run for 3 months either. So again, you'd expect that one to trade a lot higher than its forecast price. And this is what I was saying earlier on about the forecast price sometimes being a little bit off in terms of what you can expect on the exchanges. So these two certainly do have something wrong with them. Swiss Cross also has something wrong with its form, and these are the 3 that have drifted out quite markedly in the betting. And these 5 here have decent form, so you're not going to get much higher than the forecast price. And in this particular case, we went for Joy's Destiny. We thought that had decent form, and we took it at a price 40 to 50% higher than its market forecast. Now let's have a look at the last one, the Secure. And this one again hasn't run for 4 months. Its last runs have been in this class over 6 furlongs at Wolverhampton, finished 12th of 12, and that was its last run. So it finished last on its last race, over 6 furlongs. It hasn't run over today's trip, at least in its last 6 runs, and you have to go back to the 1st of June at Chelmsford to find it when it finished in 2nd of 8, beaten the length by Sign of the Kodiak. So the form is there, but you have to go quite a long way back. And all in all, being off the track and well beaten in its last race, then you're not going to get, or you shouldn't be taking a price close to the forecast. You'd want something at least double the forecast price. 55.60 might be a starting point for you. So that's basically how I would look at prices in terms of form. These are the form horses. I'll just highlight that in grey. Those are the form horses, and these are the 4 horses that have certainly something to prove currently. So you can see the 5 horses with form, they don't go that far away from the forecast prices in terms of the bookmakers and also the exchanges. You're not going to get high prices for these unless you're very lucky. So if we're playing on horses that are fancied and got form, if you can get 40-50% above the forecast prices, then that's a good point to start trading. These horses that have something to prove, leave it till you've got at least 100%, maybe more of a price before you start trading. So that's basically a brief look at where to pitch in with your trading to start with. Favourites you can go in a bit closer, and the outsiders you want a big discrepancy between the forecast price and the high price. So that's what we've done on this race. We've gone for, I'll just save that, we've gone for Joy's Destiny. We've got a decent price on it, the price has come back in, and we've now traded that off. Now obviously we can leave the bet in on Joy's Destiny. We could back that horse again at 7.2 if we wanted to, but we are looking at making a profit on the race. Now this is just one race on the day. Remember, our target is the same as our stakes, so our stakes were £5 on this level 2. We've more or less got the profit for the day on this one race, just because we've hung on Joy's Destiny, let it drift out a bit, wait till it's gone a little bit too high, and then we've backed it at that price and laid it off quite a bit lower down when it's gone back near to its original bookmaker and betting forecast price. So we will come back and we'll have a look at what goes on with the race. I'm not ruling out the outsiders, they can run decent races. In terms of horses winning the race, do I expect Joy's Destiny to win the race? Not particularly, but I don't need it to win because I've already won on the race. Chiron is another one that could come good. Captain Dion, better over 6 furlongs. This is a 7 furlong race, so although the favourites are strong, they're not indestructible, and something from out of the pack here could actually run a decent race. But we're happy with the trade we've done on Joy's Destiny. We've got a decent price for it. It's a shorter price than we would normally look at, but if you've got to be trading large amounts, then you'll have at some stage to go back in and look at the shorter priced horses. The outsiders, you won't be putting £200 on the outsiders. You won't be able to lay it off if you put 2 or 3 of those bets on. At some stage you've got to come in and you've got to start looking at the shorter priced horses, and that's what we've done today in the tutorial. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you found that the betting forecasts are not always accurate, and sometimes you get massive discrepancies between the betting forecast and the exchange prices. And we also looked at the fact that the bookmakers' top prices will always go in line with the betting exchanges. So as we said before, if Chiron drifts out to 20, you'll find that the bookmaker price goes out with it, but will stay under the Betfair exchange price. So I hope you found that useful. We'll come back for the race itself, and that will be it for the video for today. So we're about half an hour away from the race now, and you can see the prices are holding up quite well amongst the fancied runners. Nimra 3.65, Captain Dion also round about the same price. Russian Soul not moved much, neither has Joy's Destiny. Chiron just drifting out slightly, but the ones that are moving out as we get closer to race time are the 2 horses that are upped in class, and that's no great surprise. Swiss Cross going out to 25. Remember, we looked at it before and it was 18-19, and Alejandro as well, just shifting out a few points to 32-34. And it wouldn't surprise me if these 2 horses just kept on drifting. Maybe Swiss Cross going into the 30s, Alejandro going into the 40s. Secure is the surprise one, because the recent form is not good, but if you go back in the form, then it does have a touch of class, and it is near the top of the weight, so it's not really surprising that this one is not flying out towards the 40s and 50s. And also George Sink, the top weight, has run well in some decent class races. Just the fact that it's been off the track for quite some time is the off-putting factor, and that price is holding up quite well as well. So Swiss Cross and Alejandro are the two that may well just drift out a bit further. The rest should be quite near the prices that they are, but as you get closer to post time, there's more fluctuations. Prices can drift out because of what people see in the paddock. So we'll just put a pause in the video and see what happens with the prices. I'll come back about 10 minutes before the race time and we'll see what happened to some of the prices. And obviously our trading is done on the race. We did the Joy's Destiny one at just about 50% above what it is now. So unless we see something way out of its price range, we're not going to be trading again on the race. We're just going to let the race go and take the profit from this one and maybe move on to another one. But it is quite short on the ground, decent races today. There's only the Wolverhampton card, and races aren't that competitive. There's maybe a few runners in some race, and we've got a couple of handicaps to look at, but there didn't seem to be anything in those races that would make me want to trade. So it might be that we're just trading on this one race today. So we're now 9 minutes 43 seconds away from the race, and I'm quite surprised that Swiss Cross prices come back into 20. It actually drifted out to about 26, 28, and then it's been backed into 2021. And I'm also a little bit surprised about Alejandro being backed in. I was expecting these two to drift out a little bit further, but maybe bookmaker money has come in, they've laid it at a lower price, and now they're just backing it at a higher price just to level up the book. So there is reasons for horses being backed in, but like I said, I did expect these two to be drifting out and also secure. But there is time. We've got 9 minutes left, so there is time for these to drift out slightly. The one that seems to be on the slide is Chiron, and also Joy's Destiny going back out to a price of about 8.0, 7.8, something like that. So changes in the market can surprise you from time to time, but there's nothing on here that would make me want to do any more trading on the race. Obviously we've got the £4.39 profit locked in. We could, if we wanted, put that £4.39 on any horse in the race and we'd have a free bet. So if you want to do that, if you wanted to do that in future, then by all means do that. You're not losing anything on the race, and if you have a strong fancy, then that's an option open to you. We can also back a horse with a view to laying it off before the race as well, but again I would like to have bigger prices than the ones we've got. The market does look about right. If I was pricing up the market myself, then I would probably put Swiss Cross a bit higher, Alejandro a little bit higher, and I'd put Chiron a little bit lower. But in general, it's more or less as you would expect it. And remember, we put the prices up in order when we first went onto this episode. So the favourite is still the favourite. Captain Dion has been backed in, and then the third favourite was Russian Soul. That still is. And George Sink is drifting back out to 16. So we're more or less in the same order. There's nothing really been backed in across the race. Joy's Destiny is moving out to the similar price that we backed it at earlier on this morning, but we're not going to get involved this late on because we've got the race off in 6 minutes 30 seconds, so it's leaving it a little bit late to be trading on horses at this stage. As you know from previous videos, I'm not a fan of trading in the last 5 minutes, so we're going to leave it as it is. There's nothing sprung up that we can have a look at, so that's about it. We will obviously let the race run and you can see what happens in running. We don't have any in-running positions on this race. Secure is now moving out to 40, which was to be expected. Alejandro and Swiss Cross still relatively the same price we looked at before. So we're just about 20 seconds away from pulls. The horses are going into the stalls. I'm just watching a screen next to me. The price on Swiss Cross has been pushed out as expected, out to 27.28. Didn't quite go to the 30 that we predicted, but it's not far off, and Alejandro didn't meet the 40, but again, there's no real money for that one. George Sink round about the same price, and Secure just a little bit of late money for that one. Over on this side we've got Captain Dion, who's attracted support and is favourite now on the exchanges, and they're more or less going into the stalls. There's about 2 horses left. I can see Nimra just out of the gate, and I think Nimra will probably be the last one. So I think that's it. They're all in, and we should hear the sign in a minute.
Sucker.
And that's it. They're off, and luckily they're all running. So just going to have a look, see what's happening in the race. Captain Dion is the one that's taken it up, and the price is shortened straight away. You can see that price straight and short away, and Nimra on the inside just in behind the leader, and again you can see the price shortening up straight away on that one. Joy's Destiny is held up, and that's why you're getting a bigger price in running for that one. And you can see Swiss Cross already out to 60.71. It's on the inside in mid-pack. It's not really in a bad position, and the price has gone right out to 60.70, and Alejandro's just gone off the boards, and we're not even halfway. So we're now turning about 3 furlongs left. Still Captain Dion, Nimra looking good in second, Joy's Destiny held on towards the back. Swinging down into the straight, no move yet from Joy's Destiny, that one's been still held on to. Just moving it out to the outside now, but Captain Dion has quickened up. Nimra is going off in pursuit. Joy's Destiny is coming through late, but might be too late. And it's between the 2 market leaders. Joy's Destiny is moving into 3rd or 4th. And George Sink is also improving, but Nimra the favourite has won it. I think George Sink got 2nd, Captain Dion 3rd, and Joy's Destiny in 4th. But the result of the race doesn't really matter. It doesn't make any difference to us. We traded Joy's Destiny early on. We've locked in a profit, and we weren't really concerned which horse won. So Nimra did win, but even if Alejandro had won, we would still win the same amount. And as you can see in running, Swiss Cross absolutely nowhere near, and went straight out in running, and also Alejandro went straight out in running, as did Secure. So those were the 3 that we really opposed in the race, and those were the 3 that just went right out. If you look at George Sink, that one came very close to winning, came into a good price. Joy's Destiny, not really getting near the leaders, but I think it traded round about the same in running that it did on the price before the race. So that's about it. Nimra obviously was the winner, and we've won on the race. So that's the end of the episode. Just a word about the market and API status. What we're going to do next time, we're going to put this up, and we're going to look at the bookmaker odds as opposed to the percentage call on the markets, and we'll do that, and we'll again give some advice about when the best time to put in your bets or your first trades are. So thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.